Alright, so just after winning the Super Bowl, the Eagles got some very expected but also huge news to kick off the offseason, and with it, things just changed drastically for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. But before they solve that issue, the Birds are obviously still celebrating their incredible Super Bowl victory in which multiple guys made a statement, and that includes Nick Sirianni, who put himself in some legendary company among head coaches, and Jalen Hurts, who is off to a Hall of Fame start to his career. Plus, why could this Eagles team be one of the best teams in NFL history? Well, we're going to talk about that and all the other latest Eagles news starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we're all still on a high from the Birds' dominant Super Bowl 59 victory over the Chiefs. I mean, again, what a game, just what a performance by these guys, and what a special season it was for this Eagles team, possibly the best Eagles team of all time, and also maybe one of the best teams in NFL history if you look at the numbers. As according to James Nagel, the 2024 Eagles tied for the most wins in a single season in NFL history with 18. They also had the most rushing yards in a single season in NFL history with 3,866. Plus, they had the most points in a single playoff run with 145. They had the second best playoff turnover margin ever at plus 12, the fifth best playoff point differential at plus 72, and the sixth most points in a season with 608. So, yeah, I mean, based on those numbers, the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles could go down as one of the best teams of all time. And that's not even mentioning the fact that to cap things off and actually win the Super Bowl, the Birds just absolutely destroyed, dominated, obliterated Patrick Mahomes and the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs in every sense of the word and prevented their three-peat, which is something that the Birds apparently used as fuel leading up to the game, as standout defensive tackle Milton Williams said, quote, "They were talking about getting the copyright and all that BS, throw that blank in the trash." So again, it seems like ruining KC's three-peat and damaging their dynasty is something that the Eagles are taking pride in, and it also seems like they're taking pride in just absolutely shutting down one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we have Pat Mahomes messed up.
I mean, Blankenship's right. Like, the Philly defense had Mahomes rattled as they had a performance for the ages, and the pass rush in particular forced Patrick Mahomes into probably one of the worst performances by a quarterback in Super Bowl history. Like, it was that bad, as all his numbers came after they were down 34-0, so it was pure garbage time. And safety CJ Gardner-Johnson already knew this was going to happen, as he called it way back after the Eagles' initial Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs 2 years ago when he tweeted out, quote, "Run that ball back on legit grass. The D-line smashed that O-line. I'm sorry." And it's no surprise that he has since doubled down, as again, this was just a dominant effort by the Eagles defense. And what makes it even better is that they did it in front of the biggest audience we've ever seen, as Super Bowl 59 was apparently the most watched game in NFL history with a projected average audience of 126 million viewers. So not only did the Eagles spank the Chiefs and prevent a three-peat, but they also did it with the entire world watching. And now the Eagles finally get to celebrate as all their hard work has paid off, and obviously they've already gotten to do some celebrating immediately after the game and these past couple of days a bit, but that's just the start of it, as the much-anticipated Super Bowl parade down Broad Street is now right around the corner, specifically with it set for this Friday, February 14th. So, you know that's just going to be absolutely crazy, and it's going to be awesome to see this team get to celebrate with the rest of the city, and of course, give some awesome speeches as well. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go because I already have something else going on that day, but you guys already know that I'm still going to be covering everything from the parade once it rolls around. And now, days ahead of the ultimate celebration, the Birds are back in the city of brotherly love, as the team landed in Philly on Monday afternoon, and they instantly got to experience a little preview of the love that the city is going to show them on Friday, as they were immediately greeted by Eagles fans cheering them on following their Super Bowl victory. And they were soaking it in for sure. I mean, you can see here in this video of Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni all hoisting the Lombardi Trophy in front of the fans at the airport. And man, just what a special feeling that must be for those guys. And I'm sure it's a little extra sweet for Nick Sirianni, who, as I talked about yesterday, has just had to deal with so much criticism and talk and people calling for his job, a lot of which came from this city and the Eagles fans themselves. But of course, he's since proved everybody wrong, and now he is a Super Bowl champion, and Eagles fans love him. And on top of that, he very well could be on his way to becoming the best coach in franchise history, and I honestly think that there's an argument to be made that he already is. I mean, the guy is the only Eagles coach to go to multiple Super Bowls. He's now won one of them. He's never missed the playoffs in 4 years, and he just continues to win at an extremely high level, as not only does he have the highest win percentage among active head coaches, but he's also just one of 3 coaches ever to have a win percentage of at least 70 and also have a Super Bowl championship, with the other 2 being Vince Lombardi and John Madden. So safe to say, that's some pretty legendary company to be in, to say the least. So again, shout out to Sirianni for what he's done. He deserves a ton of credit, and the praise needs to be as loud as the disrespect. And the same goes for Super Bowl MVP quarterback Jalen Hurts, who of course, rather than returning with the rest of the team to Philly, he went down to Disney World after the Super Bowl.
I'm going to Disney World!
And we can see QB1 in several clips riding a float and waving to fans, or riding a roller coaster with his fiancee Bree Burrows. But while Hurts was having fun at Disney, let's not allow that to distract us from what he just did, because not only did he knock off Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs dynasty to win his first ever Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, but he also just had the most efficient performance by a quarterback in Super Bowl history according to the EPA dropback metric. He also posted this stat line in the big game, which apparently no other QB in the history of the game has put up numbers like this, regular season or postseason. And just overall, especially with this win, Hurts is now off to a Hall of Fame start to his career. I mean, that may sound shocking, but there's no denying it if you look at the numbers, considering that he's top 15 in both conference championships and Super Bowls all time, and top 25 in playoff wins as well. And that's all while still being just 26 years old. So I feel like it's safe to say that he's only going to continue to build that resume and legacy. I think he's already the best quarterback in Eagles history, and we very well could be witnessing the start to an all-time career. So again, with Hurts, just like Sirianni, the praise needs to be as loud as the disrespect. Now, unfortunately for Hurts, though, the Eagles just got some huge news that, sure, we all expected, but it still definitely hurts Jalen and the Birds moving forward. So we're going to get into that in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to ask that if you haven't done so already, then please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any Eagles coverage just like this coming throughout this entire offseason. And also, make sure you drop a like as well to show some support. It really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 600 likes on today's video. So obviously, the big storyline regarding the future for the Eagles coming out of Super Bowl 59 has to do with offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, as of course, leading into the big game, it was heavily reported that Moore was the clear frontrunner to land the Saints head coaching job, and he was expected to do so after the conclusion of the Super Bowl. Now, Nick Sirianni gave his best effort to try and keep Kellen around after they had won.
Let's run this shit back, Kellen. Let's run this back.
But unfortunately, Sirianni's efforts didn't mean much, as even though Moore did travel back to Philly with the team on Monday, Ian Rappaport reported later that afternoon that he was expected to become the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints within the next 24 hours. And now it's official, as Moore has since agreed to become New Orleans' next head coach, meaning his time in Philadelphia is over after just 1 year. And before we say anything else, I do want to show love to Kellen Moore, because throughout the entire playoffs, he had to manage the distraction of interviewing for head coaching jobs, and ahead of the Super Bowl, it was already widely known that he was going to take this Saints job, yet he was still able to lock in and put together some incredible game plans and performances when it mattered most, including in the Super Bowl. So thank you to Kellen Moore for helping us bring a Super Bowl title back to Philly. Now that said, with him gone, that obviously changes things drastically for the Eagles moving forward. I mean, Kellen Moore was a great offensive coordinator. Like, there's no denying that. I mean, like I said, the Eagles put up the most points in a single postseason run ever, and also the 6th most points of all time, in large part because of Moore. So finding someone to adequately replace him is definitely going to be very tough, and it also just means yet another new offensive coordinator, another new play caller, and just another new offense for Jalen Hurts and the Birds, which definitely isn't ideal. And man, it's crazy how fast things happen, because here we are, fresh off a Super Bowl victory, but yet we're already on the look for a new offensive coordinator. So again, it's just wild how fast things happen. Now, a guy that already seems like he's a very real option is pass game coordinator and associate head coach Kevin Patullo, but there also could be a number of other external candidates that could be options as well, which honestly, I would prefer that. So the Eagles offensive coordinator search is definitely going to be a storyline to follow early in the offseason, and one that could change everything for this team moving into next year. And you guys already know that I'm going to be covering that just as well as all the other Eagles news coming throughout this entire offseason. So if you don't want to miss any of that, then make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, and also leave a like down below to show some support. Again, it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 600 likes today. Also, leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on Kellen Moore going to New Orleans? And also, who do you think the Eagles' next offensive coordinator should be? And also, if you watch a video going over the Eagles Super Bowl victory over the Chiefs, you can check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.